Hello everyone, it's your host Ninja here, and today we will be making another Roblox Islands video. So this is actually Autoforms Part 2, and in this video we will be describing two important things, okay? How to make your Autoform better, describing how to use drills as well. Now here, what is a drill? Let me just go to where I kept my drill. What you do is you have to find a resource island. If you don't know what a resource island is those like little islands that you get. Like, I believe that you get a resource island after like 2 days, I believe, of a new account. You get another resource island. And so yeah, that resource island has two things, okay? It can either be a gold resource island or a copper resource island. This is how my Autoform looks. My drill. So I have a drill right here, okay? And you need coal totems to power it. And you don't really have to cook anything with it. What it does is it, like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, it drills that little brown block, which is your copper block, okay? Don't break that. That gives, if you mine that, it'll give around 30 copper ore. But the thing is that you'd earn that 30 copper ore in, I believe, 2 minutes with a drill. So definitely do not break that. They're actually really easy to make, these drills. But the thing is that once you do it, these copper ores go into a furnace, a smelter. That's the only way to smelt copper ore. And then once it goes through the furnace, you want to put it into a copper press. I'm going to show you that soon. So it just comes in and fills this up mainly. So, and then once it goes out of this, so you need coal to power it, it goes into a copper press. This is like this big thing that actually like uses a mold. A mold is something that you can make from steel ingots, which is things that you would get from the last episode. And then you need a certain amount of copper ingots to make the mold, and then it like presses it down. You need 15 for a bolt, 25 per a rod, and 50 for a plate. And so once it does that, if it has enough, then it will go into these chests as well, and you can collect them. That's pretty much how you'd automate this one. Now for the next part, we want to explain how to make them better. These Autoforms better. So first I'm going to go for the food one. So as you can see, mine gets really full really quickly. And so what I did is I actually made 2 different Autoforms, okay? I can't go through the first one because I put a glass block there, but I can go through this one, so just give me a second. And yes, so what I did is I used onions because they're pretty cheap to get the totems for. They're just 8k, and each seed is, I believe, 2k, which is actually pretty cheap in comparison to like other things like, say, starfruit, which is the only other food that's actually better than it. Now, yes, I just created a lot of levels of this. That's pretty much how I just make my Autoform. You just keep on creating levels. That's one way to make it bigger. But the thing is that that's more expensive. What I did here is I actually created a tomato Autoform. Tomato Autoforms are like a regular Autoform, but with one major difference. They're tomatoes, which means that everything's good cheaper as well, which is really useful for one factor. That one factor is the fact that cooking, okay? This may not sound like much, but cooking can greatly enhance your productivity by a really large amount. So I actually used 2 washing stations because this one gets like, gets overworked, I'd say. And like, cause the Autoform's like really large. And then it goes in that chest. Now this one, it does actually have too many tomatoes. And you want to try to get them in the same chest because that just makes it a lot easier to like collect them. Now, yes. What am I looking for? Yeah, a food processor. So what this does is you can actually automate the food making process. So let me just place that down. So once you're in here, and then you can like pick whatever one that you actually want to make. Like if you want to make tomato sauce, then you pick that one, and that's the one that you're gonna make, okay? So, and then yeah, because I didn't actually automate it because I didn't have the space for it, but I would have if I could. But the thing is that you don't actually have to do that. I mean, like, I have a lot of tomatoes. This isn't like what I got right now, but like just from my auto farm, I got like over 7,000 tomatoes. And I'm just gonna, and so like what you want to do is, cause cooking, like let's just do the math here. I believe that each tomato gives 8, maybe 9. I think it's 8. Let's just check. Each tomato gives 8. No, 9. Okay, so each tomato gives 9 coins, which means that each tomato sauce would give 27. Now, if you actually sell it, you get 40, which is already a 40 profit. Now, if you already have which is a 13 coin profit. I know that doesn't sound like much, but like if you multiply this 1,000 times, that is 13,000 coins. Now, that again doesn't sound like much, but when you get better, I'd say you can easily have like, what, 2K maybe of those, but the thing is that it'll be even higher on a day when it's hot. If you don't know, actually the baker has sometimes like specific days when the food item is hot. What that means is like, I guess like he wants it more, but he's willing to pay good more money for it. Like, I'd say like 40% more. No, like 80%, 75-ish. But that is a really big deal. Like, that's like, what? Like 3/4 more, which is a really big deal. Like 120 turns to like 200, that kind of thing. And so yeah, and then another thing is that you just can make it bigger. That also works. Like just the more layers you have also increases it. But then there's this thing called despawn. Despawn is this thing because it'll become more laggy if you have like 10 million tomatoes just rolling around everywhere. So you actually, like, on a public server, you have a despawn rate of 40. What that means is if there's 40 tomatoes moving around, then the 41st one would actually make the first one despawn. So that means that you want to get them in the chest as fast as possible. The second thing is that if you're in a private server, which are free for quite a while and you can actually get one for free of cost, you can actually, what's it called? It actually is 80. You can have 80 tomatoes lying around, and then the 81st one would delete the first tomato. But the thing is that it would also delete, like, say, your first steel plate or something harder to get, that can get deleted as well. Which means that, like, are you really willing to, like, for one tomato to waste, like, a steel plate? Which is why I'd say once you get better, you just want to, like, lose all of your auto farms. And just, like, you know, because they're actually going to make your farm worse. You also want to include coal totems in all of this as well. Thing is that these also put, like, coal. Like, instead of tomatoes, it's just coal, which is, like, just as bad. You want to use a randomizer to increase your thing, because, like, what it does is it actually splits it, like, 50-50. So right now it went to the right side. But let me just change my thing so I can get something that I can, like, click and, like, not waste it. Okay, so I'm just going to take grass, and, like, if I put, like, 10 here, 5 would go on the left side and 5 would go on the front. So that's how it works, okay? So you can use things like, let's say, I don't know, like, if you get, like, something really, like, rapid fire, then I'd suggest that you actually just do that. I suggest that you just, what's it called? You just use a bunch of randomizers. I used, I believe, 3 of them right now to get, like, this productivity. So, like, it goes 50-50 here. And then once it goes here, each steel mill gets 25% of the output because there's another randomizer right below me. And same thing here, which means that each steel mill actually takes 25% of all the iron ingots that I got. I was a little short on space, so I actually made that drop. One more thing that you want to have mentioned is, like, you can use, like, I had an extra smelter, so this is what I did with it. I just kept it here, and I put a industrial chest. The thing is that what's actually really cool about that is that you can actually send it out. Now I'll just show you something that, like, my thing won't look like it makes sense because it lands on like that like gray strips, but let me just show you. So like it doesn't actually always land here, but like that's the space. Like it looks like it's just landing there. Now let me just like open this up a bit. Once I spread out, they'll actually fall out of there instead. And so I'm just gonna get like 4 and then yeah, just wait a moment. Give me a sec, I don't want to fall off. And then yes, should be done pretty shortly. Just give it a second. And yes, so it actually lands on like those gray bars and then it just disappears. What actually happened is this like that's like invisible conveyor under there, which actually puts it inside the chest because it's like part of that area, which is like, so it's just in the chest as I just showed you right now, which is actually really useful and nice. Because the thing is that you can't like always predict it perfectly exactly where it's gonna land. And so yeah. Hope you had fun, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Keep on playing.